Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ankit. I'm a June 2020 graduate from VIT University Chennai campus. Currently, I work at ZS Associates. This video is a part of the series called Placement Process Explained. In this series, I've interviewed different people and tried to know how the placement process works at different companies so that you can have an idea of what to expect when you're applying to different companies. You can find the other videos on different companies on my channel. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and also join me on Telegram so that you can get regular updates from my channel. With that, let's begin. Hi Himanshu, thank you for joining me here today.
Hi Ankit Bhaiya, thank you for welcoming me.
So how are you first of all?
I'm good Bhaiya, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. So let's directly jump to the point. Let's begin with your
Yes.
introduction. So which college do you belong to? What was your CGPA when you were sitting for the placements and what was your branch?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Himanshu Sharma. I am currently in my final semester and I'm doing Electronics and Communication Engineering from VIT Chennai, that is Vellore Institute of Technology, Chennai campus. And I started applying for placements through campus only in the month of July 2020. And at that time, my CGPA was 7.74.
Okay. So which company did you get placed in?
I have got placed in Wipro Turbo.
All right, that's great. So, what is your profile in Wipro Turbo, and what kind of work are you expecting that you will get in Wipro Turbo?
Since it's a full-time offer that I've got, I'll be joining this July. I'll be joining next month. So as of now, they haven't told what exactly I'll be working upon. The only thing that has been told that my designation would be project engineer. So Wipro has this culture of assigning the candidates to different projects, and thus I'll be called as a project engineer.
All right. So let's go further. So when the company came to the college, do you remember what were the prerequisites? Was there any minimum criteria for CGPA, or was there any number of branches that were limited who can appear in the placement process? So what was it like?
Well, for Wipro Turbo particularly, the CGPA criteria was to have a CGPA of more than 6, that is 6 plus and above. There weren't any restrictions on the branches. All the branches were allowed, both circuit and non-circuit branches. Every branch was allowed. And as such, they weren't looking for particular prerequisites. They just wanted CGPA to be above 6 and all the branches were allowed. No particular skill, no as such, no different thing as such. So that very general way of accepting students.
Right. So basically, they shortlisted you based on their process itself. They did not shortlist you beforehand.
Yeah, they didn't shortlist us beforehand, basically because of the CGPA criteria and the branches that almost all the branches were eligible. I don't remember there was a branch that wasn't eligible. So I guess just because of the CGPA, they shortlisted everyone. Basically, they allowed everyone to appear for round 1 at least.
Okay. So how many rounds were there in total in the placement process?
There were 3 rounds in total. Third was the final round.
Okay. So what were the names of those rounds, if you can remember?
The first one was round 1, the basic entrance round. That is, there were 3 sections. Particularly, the first section was the set of quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and English. The second one about coding, and the third one that we had to write a small essay. And if I'm not wrong, I'm not able to recall properly, but I guess the word limit was around 200 words. Then there was the second round, which was called as the technical interview, and the third round was called as the HR interview.
Okay. So let's dive deeper into these rounds. Let's begin with the first round. So please elaborate about the first round. I mean, what, if you remember the types of questions, the topics of questions, and all those details. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So in first round, basically there were 5 subsections: quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, English, coding round, and then lastly the essay round that I was talking about. So quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and English, they were of moderate level. They weren't tough at all. They were quite moderate, and we just had to have a decent knowledge of these subjects. Coming to the coding round, there were basically 2 code questions, 2 codes that they asked us, 2 questions that they asked, and the third one was about the essay. Coming to the coding part, firstly, in coding there were 2 questions, and one was quite simple. I remember that in my case there was this question about functions in the code. It was a direct straightforward question that we had to attempt. Coming to the second question of the coding, it was for me it was quite tough. I remember the theme was permutation of arrays. Yeah, it was permutation of arrays. I was able to run few test cases, but I couldn't entirely attempt. The code did not entirely run for me, so I was just able to attempt the easier one, relatively easier easier one, and then I for the second one I just quickly went through few test cases, but I couldn't complete it. So there will be two questions, one relatively on the easier side, one relatively on the tougher side. Coming to the last part of this, that is the English writing essay writing thing, and where basically they gave us an English proverb, and this essay writing was a little different because they weren't asking for a proper discussion or a speech sort of thing. They asked us to write one paragraph in favor and one paragraph in against with respect to the topic. So as far as I remember, my topic was a good leader is someone who is a good learner. So I had to write both the points in favor and then points in against with this theme. And for other candidates also, I do not exactly remember the theme, but it was somewhere on the same line, an English proverb or a well-said thing in the English literature. So we had to write essay about it. So this as a whole was round one.
Okay. So what was the full time length of round one? I mean, because there were aptitude, then there was coding and essay. So it must have been a long round, I believe.
I remember it was around 2 hours, if I'm not wrong. It was somewhere around 2 hours, that window, 120 minutes or 150 minutes, somewhere between 120 to 150 minutes. Mm-hmm. I remember it wasn't a 3 hour long this entrance round, but it was around 120 minutes. I do not remember exact time limit, but around 120.
All right. That would suffice. So now let's move to the second round. That was the technical interview. So please elaborate that round as well.
Yeah, so the second round is probably the round where people gamble or people play a bit, because that round is a technical round, but in layman's language, what happens is that round consists of all the things that you have mentioned in your resume, in your CV. So everything, let it be the internships, let it be the projects, let it be the certifications, or let it be the achievements that I'm mentioning on that resume, on that CV, the person is going to ask questions related to that only. So it was an interview, a technical interview, which basically revolved around the technical knowledge or the technical subjects that I mentioned in my resume, in my CV. So questions were directly coming from that part only. So whatever my internships, I remember that there were questions on my internships. There I mentioned one research project that I was doing. So questions came from that aspect as well. So it is directly nothing else but questions from your resume, the technical knowledge, the technical aspects that you have mentioned on your resume.
Okay, that was good. So now let's move to the third and the final round. So please elaborate that as well.
Yeah, so the third round, after the students who were able to crack the second round, in third round there was one person per panel. Because of the pandemic situation, the panel size was reduced. It was just one person per candidate. So what happens in the third round is it is called as an HR interview round. But the thing is, it's I believe that it should be called as the culturally fit round. What happens, the main agenda or the main intention of this round is that if this candidate could be fit, is culturally fit to be accepted in the company, to be accepted in Wipro. So they are going to ask you questions based on your personality. I remember the search started with what my background is, what do my parents do, where do I stay. Then eventually he moved to strengths, weaknesses, and I remember there was this tricky question that Himanshu, tell me one reason why I shouldn't select you in the company. So it's not just very straightforward. The notion that we have that HR round is a very casual round. In case of Wipro, I don't think it's a very casual round. You really need to make sure that the words that are coming out, they make sense, and they definitely give an image that yes, you are ready to be accepted in the company. So this was mainly I remember it went around 20 minutes, where there were questions based on my personality, my background, my academics, and then certain questions like what will happen that since my resume was machine learning oriented, so there were a lot of questions like what happens if you are not given the department of machine learning, you are assigned in web development, so how would you take it? If you get a monotonous job, monotonous work routine, how would you break it, or what would be your steps? So they basically want to dig deep in your mind to see that as an employee, how well can you behave.
Okay, Himanshu. So I think with this we have covered the whole placement process for Wipro. So coming to the last question, are there any more points that you would like to add from your side? And it can be anything, any tips that you would like to give, any suggestions on books that you would like to give, or anything in general.
Yeah, sure. So I think there would be a couple of points that I'd like to use this opportunity for, because these were the mistakes that I made in my initial rounds. So the first thing is that, as I told in round one, most of the companies are going to ask you quantitative aptitude, LRDI, and English. And students generally have this notion to take it casually, to relatively keep it at a lighter note, which shouldn't be the case. I'll tell you, I know candidates who were able to crack both the codes, but they did not clear round one just because they did not perform well, or I'll say they perform relatively poor in the sections of logical reasoning, quantitative aptitude, or English. Well, in my case, I was able to run just one code, but the other three sections I gave full justice to them, and I relatively performed well. So what main first point is that do not take any section casually. Every section is of equal weightage. Every section is equally important. So give equal importance to every aspect and everything that they are asking. And it goes same for the essay writing as well. You cannot just write one paragraph and come out of it. If they are asking for 200 words, make sure that you are attempting at least 180, 190 words. And it should not even go to 250 words. Make sure that you follow the word limit and give full justice to that essay writing part. Coming to round two, which I feel is the most as a candidate, I felt it was the most interesting round because they are asking questions about something that I am telling them that yes, I know these things. My resume is basically presenting those topics, those aspects. So I believe it is a very, very important round. Never make this mistake to lie on your resume. And I had this notion, and I'm sure a lot of us would have this notion that let's say if you have 3 projects on your resume and I have just one, so your chances are higher than me, which is absolutely false. It makes no sense. The thing is, resume is about quality, the quality work that you have done, your internships, your projects, your certifications, and your achievements. That's it. They're not interested in to see that how many projects have you done. They want to understand that to what extent did you go, what were you able to achieve through that project. That is what is going to matter. So make sure in resume that whatever you are mentioning, you know it, you have knowledge of it. For example, I showed machine learning project. So I wasn't in a position that I can say, sir, I know machine learning, but I have no idea about artificial intelligence or what neural network is, what deep learning is. I cannot, because all of them are basically on the same lines. So even if I do not have proper knowledge, there should be a substantial knowledge to prove that yes, I have learned these topics, and when I'm showing I have done the project, I know what the topic is all about. So this is something that I'll do. I'll make sure that people do follow. Coming to the last point, the last thing, that do not take HR rounds casually. I know a lot of people who are rejected because of this casual approach. What happens that if we think it in a casual way, our body language, our speech would come out that way as well. So it is the HR round. They really want to know that if you can fit the company or not. Please do not let this opportunity. Otherwise, all the hard work, all the efforts that you have put in the first 2 rounds, are definitely going to go down in drain. So just make sure that in third round you take it seriously and give the justice and the respect that that round deserves as well. So I think these were few mistakes that I committed, and I really hope that all the people who are watching this, make sure you do not repeat them, because I did and it did cost. So make sure that you do not make the same things. That would be the only thing I like.
Okay, Himanshu, thank you for all that information, and thank you for sparing time today, and thank you for joining us.
Anytime. And I really want to appreciate the initiative that you had. Thank you so much, Ankit.
Okay, thank you. And I will let viewers ask questions in the comment section if they have any more doubts, and I'm sure you will answer them as well.
Definitely, I would love to. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I hope you found the video useful. Do subscribe to the channel and join me on Telegram to not miss any updates. Thank you.